Good evening. Our reading this morning was from Matthew 26, verses 6 to 16, from which we're going to find our devotion this evening. To begin, I think I'll read those 10 verses again and kind of roll everything together here. It says, "Now when Jesus was in Bethany at the home of Simon the leper, a woman came to him with an alabaster vial of very costly perfume. She poured it on his head as he reclined at the table. But the disciples were indignant when they saw this and said, 'Why this waste? For this perfume might have been sold for a high price and the money given to the poor.' But Jesus, aware of this, said to them, 'Why do you bother the woman? For she has done a good deed to me. For you always have the poor with you, but you do not always have me. For when this woman poured this perfume on my head, she did it to prepare me for burial. Truly I say to you, wherever this gospel is preached in the whole world, what this woman has done will also be spoken of in memory of her.'" Dealing with Judas, his bargain, when one of the 12 named Judas Iscariot went to the chief priests and said, "What are you willing to give me to betray him to you?" And they weighed out 30 pieces of silver to him. From then on, he began to look for opportunity to betray Jesus. Let's go back and review those verses here. It said that this incident most likely is a welcome relief from the treachery of the priests, the pettiness of his disciples, and the pending betrayal of Judas. We read that when he was at the house of Simon the leper, a woman came in and poured out a flask of perfume, very expensive perfume, on his head. Some versions call it a perfume, some call it an ointment, one called it a very fragrant ointment. After some reading, there's no mention of who she was. After some reading, I wasn't convinced anyone was for sure, especially me. But her sacrifice expressed the depth of devotion for the Lord Jesus Christ. In effect, saying nothing was too good for him. Following reaction of the disciples, and especially Judas, felt that what the woman had done was a waste of money. Felt it better sold and given to the poor. Another Gospel of John, who records this incident, chapter 12, verses 4 and 5, reports that Judas felt the vial or the ointment to be worth 300 denarii, and trying to figure out what 300 denarii was worth appeared to be maybe a year's salary at the time. But Jesus corrected their thinking, telling them that it was not a waste, but a beautiful act. The timing was perfect. Jesus tells them the poor can be helped anytime, but only once in the world's history could the Savior be anointed for burial. Her belief in the Lord's predictions concerning his death caused her to realize for her to act now, she needed to act now or never. Turns out she was right. Reading Mark 16, the first 6 verses, recounts the day following the Sabbath when the women were going to Jesus' tomb to anoint his body, discussing as they walked along the way how they would maybe remove the heavy stone. Arriving, finding the stone rolled away. Entering the tomb, seeing the man dressed in white, and looks up at them and asks, "Are you looking for the Nazarene?" He's gone. So the timing was perfect. In verse 13, "Assuredly I say to you, wherever this gospel is preached in the whole world, what this woman has done will also be told as a memorial to her." This act of true worship was indelibly recorded in our Savior's mind. Treachery of Judas, we consider that. Judas lived and traveled with Jesus. He listened to his incomparable teachings. He witnessed his miraculous, sinless life. In David's writing in the 41st Psalm at verse 9, "Even my close friend in whom I trusted, who ate my bread, has lifted up his heel against me." Consider the striking resemblance and the striking contrast between the woman who anointed Jesus at Simon's home and Judas. She felt Jesus was of the greatest value. Judas failed to find much value in Jesus. My commentary said that the 30 pieces of silver today may be worth $15. Goes on to say that the one who had received nothing but kindness from Jesus went out to make an arrangement for his dreadful bargain. We're going to miss you this Easter. We're also going to miss our kids, our grandkids, and our great-grandkids. So what are we going to do without anybody around all day? Easter. We laughed last night and said, we'll go out early in the morning, each of us separately, and hide eggs for each other. Hope you have a great Easter. We love you and miss seeing you. Thank you.